We have a very good gospel today. Jesus is the good shepherd. He is the very sheep gate. And he is not like the others that came before that were thieves and robbers seeking to steal and destroy. That is a very fine and straightforward gospel. So all I want to do today is modernize it. I just want to science it up a little bit. Don't worry, just a little bit. Because Jesus is basically talking about the distinction between two things: himself versus false prophets, a good shepherd versus thieves and robbers. He is, when it boils down to it, he is talking about the difference between a symbiote and a parasite. You all know what a parasite is. A parasite is an organism that depends upon another organism that does not aid that organism in any way for what it takes. So amoebas, tapeworms, lampreys, and bed bugs are all parasites. You don't want any of those things. There is no benefit to having any of them. Just as easily, when I said the word parasite, you might very easily have been thinking of an ex-girlfriend or boyfriend, a pesky younger sibling, or that person in your project group that contributed nothing to your big presentation due on Friday. Those are all valid answers. My apologies to any of you who are actually younger siblings. I didn't really mean it. You can't possibly be as bad as my younger brother, Eric. He's not here, I can say that today. Anyway, but no, I mean, those are the sorts of people that Jesus was talking about as thieves and robbers. We're talking about people that see a flock of sheep, or a group of people, and they see nothing but opportunity for themselves. All right? Now, some of them are harmless. Most of them are mostly harmless. A few of them are actually quite dangerous. However, that being said, a typical community can generally handle a parasite or two here and there. However, if someone is merely pretending to be a shepherd when they are in fact a thief or a robber, that is when a community is in trouble. Because a shepherd has to give more than they take. All right? St. Augustine talked about that a ton. A shepherd of all people must give more than they take. They are just a parasite otherwise. Now, not all of you may understand what a symbiote is. Symbiosis is Greek for to live together. So a symbiote is an organism that depends upon another organism, just like a parasite, but now they are somehow aiding their host in exchange for whatever they take for themselves. So, for example, we as people have a strain of bacteria in our digestive system that we cannot survive without. Is that bacteria feeding off of us? Yes. However, we're getting something out of the deal, therefore they're not parasites. Clownfish and anemones, got it. There's a 50-50 chance on that one. They have a symbiotic relationship in the ocean. And another example would be bees and flowers. All right, that is symbiosis. They are two different beings that live together, and they are better together than they are apart. That is symbiosis. And that is what makes a good shepherd. You know, a community that is better and healthier with them around. Now, here's the thing. People are stubborn. I think that's a fair thing to say. We are stubborn, and we can be slow to trust at times. When something or someone new approaches and arrives, we have a tendency to assume that they're more of a parasite than a symbiote. It's pure defensiveness, really. We worry that it'll take and not give back. You know, we worry about another mouth to feed. We worry about a bold, risky leader costing us in the long run because of some headstrong gamble they make. But in that exact same day, we'll also worry about that meek leader because he won't necessarily fight for us when the time is right. We worry about parasites. And we're no different than the people of Jerusalem all those centuries ago, because you know what? They saw Jesus coming. They knew he was special. They knew he was one of a kind. That was indisputable. However, they also knew that he was risky. And they were afraid that Jesus would harm Israel in the long run rather than help it. And of course, that's what a parasite does. Now, obviously, Jesus is not a parasite. No good shepherd is. A genuine servant must be a symbiote. Okay? Do these good servants benefit from the flock that they serve? Yeah, probably. That's not sinful because they give back. All right? A community is always better for its servants that are genuinely concerned with the well-being of everyone. And guess what? That is discipleship. That is the life that Christ wants for all of us. A symbiotic relationship between the community and the individual. So that means that all of you should be getting something from the church. And by the exact same logic, all of you should be giving something to the church. And it doesn't matter whether we're talking about money, volunteer hours, or genuine prayers. Because you know that a thief or a robber isn't going to do any of that. I'm going to wrap up with one final idea. A symbiotic relationship is a good thing, but it's not always obvious. Sometimes we don't realize the value of a symbiote until it's gone away and we see the decline in general wellness. Sometimes we need to protect something that depends upon us. So if you look out the window and you see a world in decline, I want you to think about shepherds and contributors, and I want you to think about thieves and takers. Because if the world has recently lost something good, ask yourself, what spiritual symbiote has recently been killed off? Praying in public, perhaps. Or I don't know, maybe actually appreciating time spent with family. The list goes on. You could also ask yourself, what spiritual parasite is right there underneath the skin, draining our strength one day at a time? Maybe our everlasting need for more money, or violence and foul language on every other channel. Like I said, the list goes on, you tell me. But those are worthwhile questions to ask, because I will end with this. A symbiote can always be reintroduced to an ecology, and parasites can always be killed or removed once they're found and identified. So if there is something wrong with the world, it is not too late for a cure. It is not too late for more contributors and fewer takers. More good shepherds, fewer robbers. More symbiotes and fewer parasites.